All right, I'm about to mute people. Muted, 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 muted. All right. Good afternoon. It is Friday, June 6th, 2020. We are on week 10 of Stories in the House. Let me unmute everybody so y'all can celebrate. 10 weeks. I just unmuted everybody, but they're not paying attention. We're going to go on anyway. All right, so this week we are back in action. I'm glad to see everybody. I'm glad for those who have been consistent. I'm glad to see some familiar faces there. We acknowledge that this is a rough and tough time for us as the status of Black people, Africans in America. This is something that we cannot ignore. This is something, if anybody should be saying something, it is the griots, because we have the stories, we have the history. So, as the president of Keepers of the Culture, I do have a formal statement that we will be sharing right now, and we will also be sharing on our website and our Facebook page. So please listen as I read the statement. A message from the president. Keepers of the Culture Incorporated, Philadelphia's Afrocentric storytelling group, is committed to telling the stories of the African and the African in America experience. As our motto states, our mission is telling our story, claiming our glory. This entails stories that built us up as a people, filling us with hope, pride, joy, and love. But conversely, we must share the true and often untold stories of pain and trauma that make up the Black American experience. The tragic and senseless murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and many others within the past 12 months reminds us of the painful narrative of 400 plus years of trauma and abasement of the lives of Africans in America. The conditions that led to the murders of our brothers and sisters indicate the everyday threat for all Black people in America, and unless we stand and fight, can also be the narrative of our Black children and future generations. As griots, Keepers of the Culture Incorporated, part of our commitment is to tell stories of the long historic struggle of Black people in America to people of every race, ethnicity, and background as a catalyst for discourse and community building that leads to change, practical, tangible, and equitable solutions. Since the origins of our existence, stories have built, unified, and healed us as a people. In this struggle for justice and liberation for Black people in America, Keepers of the Culture understands that in order to achieve this, we must fight on all fronts. From the classroom, to the courtroom, to the streets, and to the stoops, we must continuously engage in the struggle. In the words of Ella Baker, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. We as Black storytellers have staked our claim in this fight to share the stories of our people in efforts to spread knowledge and bring healing to the Black community. While we recognize our role in this fight, we also understand that we must do more. While soldiers are trained in survival tactics in combat, they are first trained in working together as a unit. Keepers of the Culture Incorporated has begun to actively seek collaborations with cultural, civic, educational, and social justice organizations in order to bring storytelling in a way that raises consciousness, spreads hope, and dismantles racism and white supremacy. We extend our deepest condolences to the families of George Floyd and all the brothers and sisters who have died at the hands of injustice and police brutality. Just like the movement for Black liberation, honoring their lives requires action. As Philadelphia's Afrocentric storytelling group and proclaimers of the glory of Black people everywhere, Keepers of the Culture Incorporated stands in solidarity with all who have taken measures of peaceful resistance against injustice, systematic oppression, and racism for the cause of Black liberation. May we all continue to carry the legacy of our people, serving as torchbearers of truth, change, and peace. In culture, in spirit, and love, Paul D. Best, President. All right. I can unmute anybody if they want to say anything. Oh, wait. I got an echo. Mama Irma's here.
I'm in. Let me turn off. I'm turning off the laptop.
Okay. All right.
And
We got
turn your
people.
phone horizontally.
All right. Did anybody want to say anything?
Today, Breonna Taylor's birthday.
That's right. I think 27.
27 years old.
Yes.
This is a girl who was shot by undercover police officers who broke into her home in the middle of the night. She was sleeping. Her boyfriend, after they busted the door and he tried to protect the household, he got shot. He shot one of them, but they put 8 bullets into this young lady, and she was a
She's a first responder.
first responder because she was an EMT. Beautiful young person, just taken from us, and it was a big. They haven't even been charged. They have not went to jail. This is in Louisville. I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on in Louisville.
That's all the reason. As I was writing that statement, we as keepers of the culture, we need to be intentional and start seeking out some collaborations,
Right.
asking people, what can we do as storytellers to help you with this? Because we may not be on the forefront protesting, but as things start to die down, as far as with coronavirus, because my hope is that this movement keeps going. But once we are in between in situations, the trauma arises. Just because the event is over doesn't mean the trauma is gone.
Right.
And that is just like on a battlefield. We need to be those doctors and those nurses and those the triage. We need to be out there to start nipping this trauma in the bud, because if this trauma festers, we are in danger of raising up a whole new generation of traumatized Black boys and girls.
Right.
And it's going to manifest in different ways as they grow up. And as that happens, that's going to impact our society, which could in turn impact the movement. So we have work to do. So our next our next meeting for this month, we're going to be talking about that. But today, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Some feedback on your statement. I would like it to change to more than just a year ago.
Okay.
And maybe, even take it all the way back to lynching days and to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I wasn't sure if we wanted the statement to be best on this or just in. I believe it needs to be just
still based on this, but I just think it's more than a year ago that these incidents have occurred.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think either, you can just, it's been generational. It's been, the whole slave system was built even after slavery. The prison system was built on Black men going to jail, being incarcerated after slavery. So the whole, penal system since the end of slavery, the so-called end of slavery.
No, slavery just evolved into the prison system.
It just evolved, right. And I'm not surprised that this is happening before
election.
Before Mr. T is out of there, because I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, really, with all his rhetoric. I'm just glad that it's not as racial. The demonstrations, the protests isn't a race war. It could have headed into that type of thing where, you'd have to be watching your Caucasian neighbor and they'd be watching you. It could have hit into a serious race war.
Well, it's still
the positive out of all this is that it is peaceful in most cases. The majority is a peaceful demonstration, and it's diverse.
Yes.
It's not all of us out there. You see a lot of the Caucasians and Hispanic people and Oriental and Asians and so forth out there. It's not just all of us.
Yeah, I think people are realizing this could happen to anybody.
Right.
Well,
and
so
not Yeah, well, yeah, but it's not. It's happening to
I'm saying,
everybody of color.
right, there's a genocide on us, but I
Right.
believe Caucasians are now being able to see the corruption. Like what happened with Brother George Floyd was blatant. You literally had a brother dying, and other cops were standing there doing nothing about it.
Well, a Caucasian guy just got knocked down on his back, and his head was bleeding,
In
and
Buffalo,
the
The
troopers just
7-year-old
walked
man.
right over him.
Buffalo, New York.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just
Right,
because he
right,
was out there protesting, they
right.
walked over him and let him. And they, how many did they suspend from that? And then 57 more of them had the nerve to protest that they were penalizing the ones who walked right by them. He's laying on his back, his head is bleeding. Nobody would pick him
Mm-hmm.
up,
Nope.
and because he was a protester, maybe they're colorblind or what? I don't know, but
There's no such thing as colorblind. People need to
well,
stop
it's
that.
getting kind of sick. So I don't know.
Yes.
What are you proposing? Are you? I'm
We'll
not a
talk about it.
psychologist, but are
We'll
we're
talk
going to
about
have
it
our
in,
meeting on June 13th. Next Saturday is our meeting.
yes.
And I think it would behoove us to maybe do some workshops on healing stories.
That's
Right,
what
right.
that, I mean, I was gonna save it for that, but that's what our primary agenda is gonna be, is what can we do as storytellers. In one vein, we can tell painful stories, but one thing we have to be aware of is we don't want to re-trigger and re-traumatize our brothers and sisters with some of these
Right,
stories. It's
right.
important to know the story, but
Mhm.
given the context of everything, we need to start talking about healing as soon as possible.
Right, right.
So if we as keepers of the culture can start doing that, because, you know, there people are starting to promote more about, you know, getting mental health and things like that. But people
Right.
fail to realize that there is an aspect of mental health that deals with storytelling. I mean, when you go to a therapist, you essentially tell stories like your own story, and they're
Mhm.
analyzing it and telling you what to do based off what you've told. So we in general, as people of color, as Black people, we've been so used to just sweeping things under the rug and hiding our trauma, and those turn into generational curses. And so this is a really opportunity for us to address multiple things in our Black community using our skill and our gift as being griots. So more to come on that meeting. But today is June 5th, 2020, and I'm a little partial to this day because on this day, 44 years ago, my parents got married.
Whoa.
Yes.
Yay.
So I have a picture here from when they were dating. I don't know if they're gonna show it. You know what? I'm gonna take this background off because it's not.
Yeah,
I'm not at work.
Yeah, it's not allowing you to show the
Yeah,
picture.
and I'm not at work, and I put it on at work because I don't want folks to see what my house look like at work. It's none of their business.
Well, let's see the
Mhm.
picture. It'll probably show it better now. Oh, yeah, they're right there.
Wow.
Right there. Don't move it.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, how sweet is that? That
So
is adorable.
that's when they were dating,
What a
and
handsome couple.
there's a whole album at home.
Wow.
But these are some of the wedding pictures. I got two of the
Oh,
wedding
man.
pictures on my phone.
Oh, how
Oh.
sweet.
There's
Awesome.
one, and
Beautiful, beautiful.
that's my favorite one there.
Yeah,
That
he
is
looks so
nice.
happy.
And so I called them today because you know how you have the list of everything you buy someone for their wedding anniversary every
Right,
year.
right.
And so I called them because I was like, guess what 44 is? And they was like, what? I'm like, groceries. So I said, when I get home, I'm buying groceries. So
Oh, that's cool.
I thought it was odd.
You're supposed to send them groceries. It's not.
No, that's what I'm saying. When I get home, I'm buying them groceries as their anniversary gift.
Is that
Oh,
really
that's
what
so
it is?
nice.
I was shocked. I was like, groceries, but for 44, it was groceries.
I never heard that.
But
Yeah.
I gotta save my money for 45 because 45 is sapphire. So I'm just like, okay.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
I'm gonna have to put.
We gotta change that around and make a black list.
We
Okay?
do need to make a black list. Really?
Okay, I like
That
that.
don't
I
even
was
make
like,
sense.
we buy groceries all the time. That's the case.
Right.
Everybody getting married.
It should
Okay.
be food stamps. Maybe food stamps. They could get food
So,
Nah, no,
I do
babe.
have one. I do have one treasure. Being that I've been quarantined and I've been blessed to still be getting paid and not working as much,
Okay.
I done had some wiggle room with my money. So I've been looking at buying different things in Black history. I've been like some original or first copy editions of like Langston Hughes and different pictures and stuff. So this came in the mail today. Hold on. I don't know how I'm going to frame this.
Wow. Wow. What?
That's Blair Rustin
Right.
and A. Philip Randolph.
Wow.
It's the original Life magazine about the March on Washington.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
And I mean, it's in mint condition.
Wow.
It still has the person's
Right on.
address. So I'm going to find
That's beautiful.
some way to
Wow.
archive that.
That's
Wow.
beautiful. Right on.
And sometimes you get on eBay. Sometimes you get on eBay because them white folks don't know how valuable some of that stuff is. So
It is.
I got that for $24.
Right
Wow.
on.
Wow.
So that's
what you
my
gonna do with
little.
it? You gonna print it? You gonna frame it?
I want to frame it. I'm gonna frame
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And so I'm waiting on some records. I found some Ossie Davis, Ruby D records of them reading Langston Hughes poetry. I can't wait for that one to come
I
in.
told you I got a cassette with Simple. I gotta send it to you.
Yes. And so that'll be my I'm gonna do a little jump up and say later on if we have time.
Oh, you'll have time.
And so we are gonna move on. I see my good brother again. There he is. There he is. Jawara, that's her grandson, that's my frat brother.
Wait a minute.
Who's that? Which one is that?
Khalif. That's Khalif.
Where are you?
Uh-oh. Let me see if she can unmoored.
There it is. Put your face down so she can see.
Let me see.
I know. Stoop down. Stoop down.
Stoop down. Stoop down.
Sweetheart.
There is
Hi.
graduated magna cum laude.
Congratulations.
Sounds like achievement to me.
All right.
Why are we surprised? Why are we surprised?
He
No,
was
we're not.
you know who you were in the little African boy in the play where I directed you when you were a little boy?
We were just
Khalif,
talking about.
you remember?
Well, she directed me. I don't know.
Yes, that was her. Yeah. That was her.
Yes, it was
And he was
me.
the only child in that program.
Yes. We have pictures on the website.
Thank you, because I
of-
don't have a picture of that to put on his blanket.
I don't have a picture of that either.
It's on the website, on Coach C website, where you were the little African. We did
What's his
Freedom
name?
Ring. What was the one? The play.
What was
Family
the-
Day. It was called Songs of Freedom. And he was
Olada.
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 right,
Rihanna.
right.
Oh, yes.
He opened the show. It was wonderful. We had it was historic and it was wonderful. And he opened the show as a little African boy who was kidnapped and came to America, and he knew all his part. He did so good for his Auntie Oni.
Right.
It's so
He's
nice
looking.
seeing you.
He's looking for the pictures. He can't.
And he's still doing good. He's still doing
You
good.
got to go to Coach C, KOTCINC.org and look under the bar that says photos.
It's a lot of photos on that website, so it might take some time.
It's only 250.
Only 250. Okay.
Oh, Asaki. We have hi, sis.
How's
Long
everyone?
time no see.
I'm just kind of popping in.
Oh, it's so nice to see you. It's been so long.
To be an elder.
So, but I was,
Jackie.
I don't know. Hey, Zinga.
Oh, it's wonderful.
All right. Glad to see. I'm loving that shirt. Can you back up?
Oh, I don't even. What do I have on? I've been in the garden. You're exposed too much. know what I have on. I just grabbed.
It looks like a 90s African t-shirt. I like it. I'm
Yeah,
all about the 90s.
How are you? I'm used to seeing you, Paul, in the sit.
See there, you know, it's like you see black people and it's just like, I just see black people. So it's like, I don't know the space, but I just see black people. So me and her, I mean, in Philadelphia, it didn't take me long. Like, I remember the first time when I moved and joined Coatsy, the first time I saw Brother Nasheed in the city, I was like, oh my God, I feel like I live here now. I done ran into somebody I know. So,
I see you in the sit, and then Zinga said, she said, oh yeah, she said, you know, Paul. I said, Paul, I said, was only a young guy, and, you know, that comes to the sit. So she said, oh yeah, and then when I started seeing you at Coatsy, I said, okay, okay.
What is the sit?
so the sit, Sarah Lomax Reese, the president of WURD, her and her friend Pam, they would do a monthly yoga and meditation session for Black people every second Sunday or first, I think it was second Sunday.
Second Sunday, yeah.
In Mount Airy. And so we would do it every second Sunday and we would meet there. And for those of you who do yoga and meditation, it's a totally different energy when you're doing it in the room with people that look just like you. And there were some times where we had these sits on a weekend where these police murders had happened. And it was just like, we didn't have any safe space to go to. And so these meditation sits just came and took on a whole form of self-care where it's like, I have a space to express my concern, my grief, my trauma in a safe space, because we know, you know, yoga and meditation has been appropriated by the European people and it's a thing now. So whenever you go to these spaces, you're surrounded by white people in their privilege where they're not even concerned with what might have happened over the weekend with somebody Black being killed. And it's traumatic to be in a space doing a practice that's supposed to heal you, and you with these people who not using it right. So the space, we've been meeting on Zoom twice a month now since we're doing virtual. And so not a lot of brothers in it. So I kind of stick out because
Well, you know, Lovey does yoga for children. Maybe you could send her the information.
Yes,
Lovey, would you like that
Lovey, I could do
information?
that. Send her the Zoom information. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
If you're open to it. It's been
I do
going,
children and adults.
been going almost 10 years.
yes,
Oh wow, that's awesome.
they've been doing it for a while. I found out about it when I joined WRD, and it's been so amazing, just beautiful. And even as a Black man, just to see Black women from all walks of life, like in a space coming together where you got older, you got younger, you got middle age, you have professionals, you have retirees, you have you have so many Black women, and it's beautiful, you know, in this society, just to see Black women in excellence in all types of manifestations.
I'd like to come in. I'd like to find, because I do want to do a little yoga, but I didn't really know where to go.
Oh yeah, we're gonna hook you up then. I'm glad you said something.
Oh, we can. And Sarah does. She actually teaches yoga. She's been teaching yoga for a long time.
But are you doing it on Zoom?
Yep.
She's big probably now, but you know, prior, you know, pre-COVID, Sarah was doing, you know, classes and workshops. I offer retreats and so on, and she's done, you know, yoga portion of my retreats. But she's excellent.
What are your retreats like? Because I do poetry workshop for women retreats.
So
where are they?
Well, I don't want to get to, but my art practice is I'm a fiber artist. So I do workshops around the intersection of art making, usually with fiber, fabric, quilts, collages, so on. Intersection of art making, spirituality, and
Can I show you my fiber art I did?
Sure.
My girlfriend is a fiber artist. Her name is Diane Williams, and she's in Mississippi, in Jackson.
Oh yeah, she was here a few weeks ago.
Yeah, when the National Association of Black Storytellers came. I took her fiber art class.
Wow.
Her and another sister is Willa Brigham.
Okay.
She's down south somewhere. I forget where Willa is, North Carolina. And they gave a fiber arts workshop, and I made a piece, and I really like it. It's very. But I know you from a long time. Where do I know you from, Asaki?
From Coatsy, Sandy.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been
In the company of poets. I know you from the Locks conference with Mama Kusawa. Did you ever do any? Did you do any workshops with her?
No. I've I just been around a long time in the art
Yeah,
world.
I knew you from a long time. You know me, right? You know, you see.
Yes.
Huh? Yeah. It was nice to see your face.
Part of it is just supporting other artists.
Yes.
You know, I'm gonna flip around real quick and show you my some of what I do.
Okay.
I was on I don't know, can you guys see?
Oh, my
Put your
favorite.
phone.
see
If
a
you're on the
quilt.
phone, put it horizontally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, much better.
That is Ona Judd.
Uh-huh.
She was enslaved by George Washington here.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be learning to portray her for October. Ooh.
Oh, her story. I researched her story.
Yes.
The background. There was an advertisement for her capture.
I see.
Wow.
So I went to the library company and got that. I have her with Juju on her because had happened. So she took that along with her. I have her standing akimbo.
Right.
Kind of defiant. So she escaped while she was watching George prepare to go to Mount Vernon.
Right, when they were packing to go back down. Now that fabric, I think I have a dress made out of that material, her dress, the blue part.
Okay, the indigo, yeah.
Indigo, yeah, I have a jacket from years ago made out of that.
I love the dimensions with the curtain.
I love the 3D, the curtain.
So, the reason why I have her looking out the curtain is before she was, looking out the window
to sneak off.
But also, she used to sit at the window when she escaped to New Hampshire because George sent for her capture several times.
Right.
And, told her that he would free her in his will. And she said,
nice.
She said, I'm free and choose to remain so.
Right.
So, that's the name of the piece, Free and Choose to Remain So.
That would be wonderful. I'm Irma, if we're still working on the project, Irma and I will be at the Stenton House in October. Are they still going to have it? Irma.
Irma's seen this quilt and she's familiar with this.
Could you bring it there? I'm going to portray her.
Oh, wonderful.
And I'm going to tell her story. I have never caught.
Okay, I'll talk
I have a lot of research material about her. And the thing I'm going to have to maybe fabricate is who helped her? Who really helped her? Was it William Still? Who arranged for her to get on that boat? So that's something I'm further researching as far as adding, my take on it, because no one really knows. She never told. It was the boatman she told, but she never gave away who helped her in the city to actually make her way down to the boat and all those arrangements. So I think I might put a little bit of William Still in there,
Certainly.
Yeah, maybe. I'm working on it now. I'm working on her outline.
And there was the Anti-Female Slavery Society also.
Okay.
And some thinking maybe was
the Grimke sisters.
Grimke sisters.
Right. They were around.
The Fortin sisters.
The Fortin, Fortin sisters.
Charlotte Fortin, who I have a love for, because she was one of the teachers at Penn Center in South Carolina, St. Helena. But I'm thinking some of those women also supported her in her escape.
Okay, well, I like your phone number because I'd like to talk with you a little bit more. Could you put it in the chat?
I'll do that. Not a
I
problem.
would love to talk with you about it because I'm doing some video taping stories now, so I have to focus on that. So I wasn't really going to pick. I read the book on her Never Caught, but I wasn't going to pick back up on it until maybe August because I
Okay.
wasn't sure if we were still going to do it or not. Are we, Irma? No telling. Unmute Irma, please, brother Paul.
I did. I think there she is. Okay.
Yeah, I got notice setting that we're still working on it. We're still, we're still planning. We hope that by October we'll be able to, be out of this and to do it. But one way or the other, we'll do it, even if we do it virtually.
So I should still focus on her. I should still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I do Harriet Tubman. I've done Sojourner Truth. So I really enjoy our women. Portraying our historical women. So I'm looking forward to portraying Ona Judd.
Yeah,
I have the outline.
I said Ona's a homegirl.
Yeah, girl, and I'm a home girl too, right out of North Philly. Okay, so.
Well, we have Mama Janice Curtis Green has chimed in.
All right now.
Hey, my friend.
She is here.
Hey.
I guess we can. Let me get my hole punch because she got a little attendance card now. I need to punch a hole in her attendance.
Oh, Lord.
For those of you all who don't know, she is the national president for NABS, the National Association of Black Storytellers. So we definitely love seeing her taking time out to see us on the regular. She is from the Griot Circle of Maryland. And if you ask them, they will tell you it's the center of the universe.
It quite is.
They see, I mean, you got to give the juice where the juice flows. So they got it. That's our sister city in storytelling in the spirit of Mother Mary Carter Smith and Linda Goss. So we are always happy to see her. Hope you're doing well, Mama Janice.
I am just busy with nabs. Benora and I are nabbing. Just so you know, as of today, we'll picture my family in the background. As of today, we are still going to Richmond.
Yeah.
Okay. In the flesh. In the flesh. So
we ready.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
It's
ready. It's a lot of people that's ready. A lot of people want to get there. Especially by being in Richmond, a lot of us can jump in the car and head on down the highway. So,
it's about to be a situation.
As of now, God answers the prayers of a sinful, sick world, and he will see fit to clear the way that we'll be able to go. The only thing I'm advising is not to make any travel or hotel arrangements that you can't cancel without a refund, because we never know what's going to come back up. Right? So by September, we should know if there's a resurgence in the virus or anything that'll cause us, any extended stay-at-home orders or anything like that. So we will. That's when you can lock in everything, but it's still up, and registration will go up in September. Waiting for.
I mean, you can't just call it in the footsteps of our ancestors and not expect miracles to work out. So
hey. At least we won't have that ugly statue of General Robert E. Lee looking at us when we get
right. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
They heard we was coming. That's why.
Richmond was wonderful. Of NABS, the last time we were in Richmond, it was off the hook. We had so much fun. I loved Richmond.
So we're hoping, even if we have to wear masks or something, but we'll figure it out. I just,
we always figure it out.
As long as the hotel can, accommodate us, then we off to Richmond.
Yep. That is beautiful. I'm glad for that news.
The reason why I logged in tonight, because I was looking at out there. I was trying to get in to see you perform last night, Oni, but something happened. NSN sends crazy links that don't work and told me I hadn't registered when I knew that I had. It was real crazy.
Oh.
Lenora said you were great.
Oh, thank you.
Because I'm part of TAMA, teaching artists of the Mid-Atlantic, so I wanted to see the Mid-Atlantic group perform.
Right. Oh, thank
glad
you.
I was glad they let a little chocolate girl in, because
Yeah.
they get a little funny sometimes.
Sometimes.
That's why we got us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it didn't make no difference to me what went down, because I said we got us. So
Well, that's why Mama Linda and Mama Murray formed NABS to begin with.
yeah,
So we
right.
could tell our story our way out.
That's right. That's right.
Tell,
That's right. So we got us. I wanted to ask Paul if he could write in the chat that information about the yoga, Sister Lomax doing that yoga thing.
Yeah, the way I can do it, because the Zoom info they have, it changes every month. So if people can put their email addresses, I can have them add you to the email list. So when they send out an email, you'll be informed of everything.
Okay, well, Lovey, you have to email Paul, and you have mine.
Yep, I'll put it in the chat for you, Paul.
Yes, please. I can write that down.
Before we move on, can I show Asaki? Asaki, are you still with us?
She might have stepped away. I see she's on, but I think she might have stepped away.
Okay, I'll wait till she comes back, because I want to show her my fiber art I made at NABS workshop in Philly. So I'll wait.
I'm back. Sorry, I had
Asaki, I want to show you my fiber art that I made.
Wow, look at that. Oh my gosh.
And it has a story behind it. You see the little girl and the mother, everyone? She's traveling to see her husband in the coal mines in South Africa. And that golden tear on his eye is because he's a mine worker. You see that?
Oh, wow.
So he's crying to see his family, and they're traveling over the mountains to go visit her husband and the father.
Wow.
So that was the story I made for my, and you see the stones at the bottom of the river and the bush. They had to go through the bush to get there. So that's, and I had to frame it, I guess, but you have to just frame it without glass, right?
Well, yeah. Or
to let it breathe.
My work is framed though.
To let it breathe, you do it without glass though, right?
Right? It frame it. So many quilters don't frame their work. Like none of
Diane Williams, her fiber art is on all in the museums in Jackson, because she used to be with the Mississippi Arts Council, and she was the head of diversity, and she's writing a book now about all the museums in Jackson.
Wow.
She just finished her book on B.B. King, so she taught me how to do this at NABS. So these are some of the fabulous things you can do when you go to NABS.
What's her name?
Her name is Diane Williams.
Okay. Beautiful.
Awesome.
That is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, she just wrote, she's the only one, so as far as we know, she's the only one that published a book on B.B. King with the authorization from the family.
Wow.
Yeah. When we first, I think it was probably our second or third show back in April, she showed us the book, and she told a story about how she had caught her research and everything. And there was just so much about B.B. King, we just didn't know the work that he did. And so it was awesome experiencing her on this. So
she's a member of COATSY.
Okay.
She's going to come back and be a member, a financial member. But once you're a Keepers of the Culture, you're always a Keepers of the Culture.
Okay.
Right. All right. Now, who has a story? We got a story. As my pastor say, it's so quiet in here, I can hear a rat licking ice. He used to say that. He would say, that's how I know I'm preaching good. It's so quiet in here, I can hear a rat licking ice. All right, I see one hand, I see two hands. So we are gonna go, the first hand I saw was Mr. Adrian Champion out of Patterson, New Jersey. And then the next hand I saw is our co-founder, Mama Jawara Bishop. So we are gonna go in that order. So look on my screen, it's the top right square. I feel like this is Hollywood Squares. So on the top right, we got Brother Adrian Champion from Patterson, New Jersey. Give him your eyes and your ears and mute that mic.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
Okay, so I wrote this back in the 29th of June 2014 for my family reunion, which was held in Charleston. So I hope you enjoy, I hope you appreciate what I'm about to share. And I was able to share it with my family members who attended. It's about the fabric of family. So, well, the title is A Unique Fabric. And I'll start from there. We are the fabric that was stitched by a single thread into this cloth quilt called family. Each piece adding its own sense of color, representing the patterns that were laid so many years ago. The eye of the needle guiding that thread through many life-changing, world-changing events. Through the ages, this quilt was woven of fine threads such as faith, hope, strength, endurance, courage, prayer, love. Laughter kept the weaver's hands under God's care. Each of us have benefited from this wonderful craftsmanship, stitch by stitch, piece by piece, year after year, decade after decade, the quilt has expanded. The joy is we are the essence of the amazing works that was started so long ago. We marvel and spread the good news of how the Jones family has stayed connected, loving, caring, educated, lifted, and yes, prayerful. So the fabric that we each share, a tremendous piece, will continuously be stitched from generations to generations. Jones now and Jones will forever be the fabric of this name always. We are the ties that bind and the blood that was shed. That was it.
Thank you for sharing, Adrian.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
So
Don't you just
heartfelt.
love how every week these themes just come all by themselves? It's just beautiful. Here we are talking about textiles and fabrics and fibers, and the brother pull out a fiber fabric story about the family reunion. All right. All right, Mama Jawara. She done walked off. Oh, there she is. Mama Jawara, are you ready? Wait, are you ready, Mama?
Yes,
All right, Mama, what you got for us?
I got Virginia sitting at the table making her last entry in her journal. The last entry before she moves. She's decided to take the little cabin that sits way back in the woods, someplace in mid-Pennsylvania. She's never been there before, but after her husband was killed coming back from the bakery, he was getting their baby's first birthday cake, and he was killed. She was so devastated that she decided she no longer wanted to live in the city. She was going to go live in that little cabin in the woods. She closed her book as the baby woke up. She left. She ventured to this new place near, it was about 35 miles from State College. It was about a 4-hour ride on the train. And when she got off the train, there were only 2 taxis in the town, and one of them took her down a long dirt road. She saw a house at that end, almost at the end of that dirt road, and she thought that was it, but no, it was too big. That was my grandparents' house. The taxi took her further down the road and off, maybe, I guess about 50 feet from the road, at a little cabin. It was groomed, the grounds were groomed, the house was really, really well kept, and she immediately fell in love with it. She moved in there with her little baby, her little 1-year-old baby. Well, maybe he was about 15 months old by now. And every now and then she would walk down past my grandparents' house and they would talk to her. And my grandfather kind of kept an eye on her without her knowing. Every now and then he would go down, make sure there were no animal marks next to the house or anything like that. So she would wash her clothes and hang them out on the line and just sit there and watch her baby playing in the grass. One day, she ran out of clothespins and she ran in the house to get some clothespins. She was not gone 5 minutes.
Your phone.
She was not gone.
Excuse me, Jen. Yep. Yes, better. Nice.
She was not gone 5 minutes. She doesn't even believe she was gone 2 minutes. But when she came back, her baby was gone. She couldn't believe it. She started looking. She started calling. She screamed. She looked. Over an hour, she looked for her baby. How far could he have gotten in such a little bit of time? She ran down the road to my grandparents' house and asked them to help her look for her baby. They called other people and everybody was out looking for the baby. They looked until it was dark time. No baby. She was, you couldn't contain her grief. She just paced up and down. She didn't sleep. It got so bad. After a week of looking for the baby, they never found the baby. They never found any traces of the baby. She ended up in an institution. There was nothing anybody could do for her. She stayed there for over a year. Finally, she was well enough to go home. And when she went home, the first thing she did was left the yard and stood at the edge of the woods and just looked. She'd come back to the house and sit on the porch and rock in that rocking chair. And that's all she did. She barely was eating or drinking. When they went down to check on her, she was not doing well. And they told her, if you don't start eating, you're going to have to go back into the hospital. And she would just rock and rock and rock. One morning, early in the morning, she saw something at the edge of the woods. And she got up and she started walking towards it was a creature. It was a big, big creature. And it was holding a child in their hand, in her hand. It was a female creature because her breast hung low, almost to her navel. And when Virginia got close enough, the creature reached out its arms, holding the baby, and was pushing it towards her. The baby was hairy. It was hair all over the baby. But when she looked closely, she could see that was her baby. That was her baby. And she ran and she grabbed the baby, and the baby immediately started crying, "Boo mama, boo mama, boo mama." And the creature looked at Virginia and looked at the baby and ran away. And the baby continued to cry, "Boo mama, boo mama." She wrapped the boy up, brought him down the road. My grandfather took her to the hospital. They examined him, and it was something very unusual about his blood samples. And they couldn't figure out why he had all this hair all over his face, arms. Hair was everywhere. So they wanted her to leave the baby there so that they could do some tests and just see what was going on. But she refused. She took her baby back home and she watched him. But every time she turned her head, he would run for the edge of the forest. He would run for the edge of the yard, looking out into the forest, crying, "Boo mama, boo mama, boo mama." And she would bring him back and she would rock him, but he was not satisfied. He didn't cry as much, but he was still crying, "Boo mama." And one evening, just as she was getting ready to go in, she saw the shadow across the yard, at the end of the yard. And she walked down there with her baby, and it was Boo Mama. And when the baby saw Boo Mama, he just reached for her, and he was struggling to get out of Virginia's arms, and Virginia couldn't stand it. She let him go. She let him go, and he ran right to Boo Mama. She didn't know what to do. Boo Mama put the baby back in her arms, and she left. Boo Mama was a Bigfoot, a female Bigfoot. So she held her baby, and her baby he never really was satisfied. He would go to sleep, but only because he was so tired from crying. And she would take him out every day she'd go back out, rocking him in that rocking chair until he went to sleep, and he would still be calling Boo Mama. And the next time Boo Mama came to the edge of the woods, Virginia gathered up her baby, and she went out to the edge of those woods, and she left with Big Mama, with Boo Mama, her and her baby and Big Mama. She had decided to give it all up. When my grandparents went down to her house, they found her journal on the table, and it said my baby was not happy. He had fallen, and somehow they were able to heal him by giving them their blood or something. Whatever they did, he was now hairy like them. And so she wanted him to be happy, and so she left to live with Boo Mama and her baby. The end.
Ooh, mama.
Double behind the back.
Yes, yes, yes.
What? Okay. I'm still crafting that story. Give me some feedback.
You always, I love how you can take a story and like an everyday story and infuse a supernatural aspect into it. Like I was thinking about, I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of your stories deal with some aspect of the woods and the mystery of the forest.
The country girl.
I remember the story about the talking heads with the gourds.
Oh yeah, the flying head. The flying head.
Yes. And so I love how you use the supernatural, but the way you fuse it's everything just it's so believable. And when you when you described Boo Mama as a kid, I don't know if y'all remember that show, Harry and the Hendersons.
Yes, yes.
And the Bigfoot that lived with the people.
Yes.
That's all I could think of. Okay, I think Mama Irma wants to say something.
I think wait a minute, hold on. I think my former mother-in-law was a boomer.
Was a what?
A boomer.
A boomer.
Yeah, my ex-husband's mother. I think she was a boomer. I think she was.
That's hilarious.
That's a whole nother story, but she wore black to my wedding, but that's a whole nother story.
Oh, God.
Okay.
And
we need to write that down.
So Boo Mama is a code word for
Bigfoot.
No, I'm saying maybe Boo Mama can be a code word for those type of folk.
Oh no, I just wrote it down. We're gonna be working on some in-law stories.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no,
my grandfather used to call them outlaws.
Well, I was blessed the second time around with wonderful in-laws, but I'm gonna tell you that first. All y'all would just have to sit back with a drink in your hands, and I could just entertain you all night long. But I won't, because they're on the great beyond, and I don't want to do that to them. God rest their souls, if that's where they happen to be.
Janice.
Woo! Gotta love the shade. Gotta love the shade.
Dr. Janice, I put a question in the comments for you.
Do you know how to get to your chat, Jan? Jawara,
Yes.
do you know how to get? Okay. I don't think she heard you. Lovey put
Yes, I
something in the
did.
chat.
Oh, no,
Yes, I
no.
did. I answered.
Remember,
She
there's
answered me
I
back.
answered her.
I'm gonna mute myself.
we have two Janices on the line. We have Janice Curtis Green and we have Janice Bishop, but we call her Jawara Bishop, Mama Jawara. So
Mama J.
the question
Mama
was
J.
Mama J on the story.
Did
But
you
I
see
think
my answer?
Janice Curtis Green had an answer too. So I'll just read the transcription. So Lovey asked Mama J, did she take her baby back in the story?
No,
So
she went.
In real life.
I was asking if the boo mama in-law took her baby back.
She went
and read my response, son Paul.
Yes. So in the story, Mama Jawara said that Virginia
You
went
didn't
to,
read all of
no,
the
I
response.
see it. I see it. I'm trying to build it up. So Janice Curtis Green told her story about the in-laws from her first marriage. So she thought the question was for her. So she responded, yes, I gave him back.
Yes, it was for her. It was for her. She
Oh,
said
it was for her.
Yes. She said her mother-in-law was a boo mama. So I
Yes.
said, didn't she take her baby
Did she
back?
take her baby back?
And she said she gave him back.
All right. Woo. You can't return that to Amazon. All right. All right. Who's next? Nobody? All right. Well, I'm going to read from, if you're not familiar with this book, as a Black storyteller, you need to be familiar with this book. Jump up and say, it's from our beautiful co-founder of National Association of Black Storytellers, Linda Goss, and this, I believe it's her husband, Clay Goss, with the introduction by R.C. Davis. And if you and keep it to the culture, you know we like R.C. Davis. So, excuse me.
I have to go, y'all. I got to get home before dark.
You're not home?
No, I came over to see my grandson and my granddaughter that just came in from El Paso.
Oh, I thought they came over to the house. Okay.
No. So I have to go. It's getting dark.
All right. Send my love to everybody.
Y'all. Love. Irma, I have a bag for you, but I can't bring it tonight. I'll bring it tomorrow.
She muted. I don't think she can hear it. All right. Travel safe, please. Travel safe.
Yes, Lord. Yes. Love.
What's so funny, Oni? What's so funny?
Right. You know she got something.
My husband.
Is it the husband I'm thinking about?
That's my boyfriend. Don't talk about him in front of my husband.
Wait, which one? Because you know
my real husband. He whistled today. He whistled a whole song. So he discovered his inborn talent to whistle. So he sent it to his friends, and everybody's telling him they want to be his agent. They want to put him on America's Got Talent.
Okay.
So he just showed me the comments that his family was making, some of the family making about his whistling.
Tell him to put it on Facebook or YouTube to see how many followers he gets.
Well, I see. You got a husband that whistles and a boyfriend that can sing. You just got it made, huh?
Love it.
All you have to do is be able to dance on it, and you can get a trio thing going on.
Hey, I can dance, girl.
Don't give her those ideas because you know she'll do it.
Don't even go there.
She'll do it. You give her that idea, she'll have it trademarked by Monday.
Oh, look at this poor thing.
All right. I'm gonna read this.
I got a poem.
Oh, you got one? Please jump
Okay.
in. Jump in.
I got a poem. This was dedicated to, y'all know Napalm, the bomb.
Napalm the bomb.
Yes, napalm. Yes, yes.
Well, Napalm, me and him used to batter back and forth lyrically. It's kind of long though, but it ain't too long. Wait a minute. All right, and this is an old book that I did years ago, Real Tales of Rhymes and Reason. And I just dug up my little chapbooks and stuff, gumbo, gardenia and gumbo. And so I found this poem. It's kind of fun. So I was teasing him about you are the last poet. You are the last poets, my brothers, but many came before to lead the way you journeyed to open up the door. They came way back from Africa when our stories were in truth told. Aesop shared his fabled lessons. Griots played an important role. In telling of our history in various verse and rhyme back then, across the Middle Passage to Lucy Terry Prince's pen. Phyllis Wheatley mastered the Queen's English of the land. On virtue she wrote so eloquently about her journey to this strange land. She motivated Juniper Hammond to address her in a sweet prose, wrote to her in verses way back then on the virtues of being a Christian. You are the last poets, my brothers. Many came before, poets who wrote love songs amidst the greatest hate, on liberty and desperate yearnings for that key to heaven's gate. Time is running out of time. You are the last poets God gave. Our freedom fight was on. Poet George Moses Horton penned voice in The Slave. Dead poets recorded tears of our bloody past, cotton picked in the love of sugar cane. A mournful lute of a son's farewell, wrote the poet Daniel A. Payne. You may be the last poets, my brother. You made our pencils sharper. Yet long ago, sisters like Anne Plato wrote prose. Songs for the People was written by Ellen Watkins Harper. And what about our Whitman? Albury A. Whitman, to be exact, how he wrote of Africa's tribes and how they were stabbed in the back. Poets praising other poets is nothing new today. Dedications to fathers and European poets were written by Henrietta Cordelia Ray. I think maybe some other people need, okay. Okay. Unknown poets wrote in a broken tongue many couldn't read or understand, but his prose was down home, and James Edwin Campbell's wrote The Conjure Man, signifying, testifying, philosophizing, and more, opening eyes to word on paper from the deepest derogations of the South to Canada's golden door. Revolutionary writers who left footsteps for you to follow in a poetic war, bullets strong in protest, loud and clear, Cotter, Carothers, and Dunbar. As the 20th century rolled on in, Dunbar's bilingually was the talk of the day, as he guided the spirit of the great poets, leading them on their way. Creating our own loving nation, James Weldon Johnson gave us creation, while others lied about freedom's ring. He also wrote the poem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. You are the last poets, my brothers, and so it may be that Brathwaite and Grimke never lived to hear of thee. Love poems written down so all could tell, from Spencer, Georgia Douglas Johnson's inkwell. You are not the last poet, my brother.
Right.
Yes, yes, yes.
Woohoo!
This is old. This is some old stuff.
It ain't never old.
It ain't never old. 2001, and that was fun. But what's all that noise? Did y'all hear that noise too?
No, everybody was muted while you were talking.
Well, maybe it was me. Sorry about that. Maybe I need to fix my
We didn't
audio.
hear anything. You sounded pretty clear.
Really? But I'm hearing stuff. I'm hearing a lot of audio noise. All right, who's next?
There was audio noise, only
Yeah.
like a boop, 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 like a,
Yeah,
like, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was audio noise.
I'm hearing it now.
That's me talking.
No, that's not you, sweetheart. No.
I'm gonna
It
mute
sounds,
myself.
sounds like some feedback.
I'm gonna turn down my output level. I think that'll make it go away. That'll
Okay.
help. So I went in my audio and turned back the output level.
Okay.
All right.
Anybody who's next?
I'm getting ready to leave you guys. I gotta prepare for some stuff going on.
I have a question. When's our next NABS program? When's our next NAB Zoom? What date?
June the 10th.
Okay.
Yeah, next Wednesday at 8.
Next Wednesday at 8, everybody. Oh, yes, I have it written down.
Your Zoom links will be sent out because they're going to use Zoom. Their start meeting didn't work.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And then it'll be like a webinar.
No, well, they're going to use Zoom meeting for the first one and then Zoom webinar for the second one. They're just feeling what works.
Great.
All right.
So
have a good weekend, Mama Janice. Be well.
Yeah, I didn't have my nap today.
Just get really. Do you have Instagram?
Yes.
There's a sister that has an Instagram page called the Nap Ministry. She did her whole dissertation on the importance of nap and resting for Black people. It's a beautiful page.
Well, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. When I take naps is when my body, I'll be sitting there working and my body will say, I can't do another thing.
You got to stop.
You must stop. I'm not making sense. I'm tired. Maybe I didn't have a restful night or something's going on. But I know at that point to get from in front of the computer, out of the kitchen to whatever else I was doing, washing clothes, whatever, and going upstairs and just and I don't get in bed. You should never take a nap in your bed. Your bed is only for two things, and we won't go there. But,
Love nights, August 8th.
But you should never take a nap in your bed because that will disrupt your sound sleeping, because the bed is meant for that REM sleep and that second level sleep when you go into the dream stuff. But put your feet up on a couch or even in a comfortable chair or whatever, and just that power nap, 15 minutes sometimes is all you need. And you're not really sleeping, you're just drowning out. Don't have no TV on, don't have music playing. Just get totally quiet so that your brain can empty.
Yep.
And you just need your brain to empty. Your brain doesn't want to absorb one more thing. And I used to do that at work sometime. And there was always this one little lady who used to come by at lunchtime or something and knock on the door. I'm like, I am taking a nap. It just looks odd that you're sitting at your desk sleep. It's my time. It's my time. It's my lunch. I get a whole hour. I'm just taking 50. She used to do that every time I'd want to jump up and smack her. But, she was of the European persuasion.
Oh, Lord.
One
of my coworkers.
I'm doing a movement to just say that European or Caucasian. I'm not calling white people white because ain't nothing white about them.
Yeah.
I say the European persuasion.
I know that's
because
correct.
That takes in consideration all of them.
All of them.
That stuff. All of them.
All the colonizing. All of that.
All that. Yeah.
And the Caucasians. So.
I'll just start calling them colonizers. But we won't go there. There's a lot of them out there marching and get that old man that they knocked down. It was so funny when they said, I'm going to have to go and get myself together. They kept saying, when the police knocked, what was he, in the Bronx or Brooklyn?
Yeah,
they knocked him down. And when one went to help him, he grabbed him and pulled him back.
Wow.
But they keep describing him, and the rest of them just like march past this man laying on the ground bleeding from his head. Yeah. Some of them had to step over him to get to the rest of the protesters. And I could see that somebody called 911, but what if I couldn't understand that, but the elder knew. They kept saying, this elderly white man, he was 75, and I'm thinking, that's not elderly. My husband is 75, he's fine. What's going on? Right. And then I forgot, we're talking about European persuasion, 75. Yeah. That's
cryptic.
Headed and looking feeble.
Ageism is real.
Yeah, that's gray-headed looking feeble. That's not out on the golf course or doing whatever. It was really crazy. They kept saying this elderly gentleman, and elderly, 75. I'm like, hey, what's up with this elderly stuff? I ain't far from that myself. But it was just really crazy. But all of these things, and in Maryland, we had the white man get off his bike and accost that little white girl. There were 3 white teenagers hanging up Black Lives Matter signs or social justice signs in a park against this fence, and they were hanging it up. She had her little signs and her tape looks like. And he was riding his bike. Now, it wasn't enough for him to just say, stop, you can't stop that. He got off of his bike. And, of course, he went toward the smallest of the 3. And the other one said, don't put your hands on her. Don't touch her. He grabbed her by her shoulders and yelled something at her, grabbed the paper and the tape. It was blue like painter's tape. Grabbed the tape from her and yelled something back. Then he got on his bike and ran down the young boy who was filming it all. And the camera went up in the air. The phone went up in the air. So they're asking if anybody recognizes him to call the police, because that's assault, pure and simple. Yeah. They weren't bothering anybody. And the thing of it is, all of them was of the European persuasion. The kids and the man.
We're Caucasians?
Crackers, as my grandfather would call them, when they go there.
No, we don't go. The new word is Trumpers.
Trumpers?
They're Trumpers.
For my grandfather. When they go, when they
No, I grew
wait a
up
minute,
saying,
Adrian is saying something. I just can't hear him. What'd you say, Adrian?
I said I have a friend. Her father calls them peckerwoods.
Yeah, peckerwoods and crackers. That's what we used to say.
Or pilgrims.
Or I go George Jefferson on you and call him a honky.
Rednecks, peckerwoods, and crackers.
The word
That's what my
is,
mother. She was from Louisiana.
Or they're TT's trailer trash. But Trumpers. Trumpers is a good word for them. There was when I go running in the morning, I used to pass by this house that had a flag that said Trump 2020, keep America great. Since the pandemic and stuff, the flag is gone. He just has an American flag hanging up. He's just taking it down.
Yeah, he know what time it is, because he
right. He realized that white skin ain't saving him now.
So, all right, people, have a wonderful evening.
You as well.
Be blessed.
Thanks for dropping in.
Take care, and I'll see you virtually. But I look forward to seeing people in Richmond, and if God answers our prayers,
oh yes, and the creek don't rise.
Yeah, but
creek don't rise.
Yeah,
I'm driving down. Hey, like I did.
Most of us are. Yeah, put my hubby in the car.
Thank you for bringing such good news to us tonight.
Yes.
Thank you. You're the first affiliate that I visited with this news, because we right up and down the road.
I'm like, you the center of the universe, but we the front porch, so you might as well tell us first.
I have a question. Are there other affiliates having Zoom meetings? Are there other affiliates gathering?
I know the Griot Circle is having their Zoom meeting, their regular first Saturday of the month Zoom, and they're having it on Zoom tomorrow.
Okay.
So, and I know Georgia, Kauma Storytellers of Georgia are planning a lot of big stuff.
Oh, nice.
They have a fundraising going on for the bigger thing, because I'm trying to do as many affiliates. I was trying to visit affiliates.
Yeah.
I had been to Cleveland and Buffalo and doing this 2 years, but this thing came along, so I'm trying to visit. It's cheaper this way anyway. I'm trying to visit as many.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, but Philly is just a train ride. I don't like to drive to Philly. But I'll take a train up and then sleep on my way back home or whatever.
Yeah.
But Cleveland, Detroit, Buffalo, I can leave early in the morning, catch a plane at like 7:30, 8 o'clock, be there before 10, and go to events that they have, like the Sisterhood Luncheon or the Tell Me a Story Workshop or whatever else. Somebody from the affiliate get me back to the airport by 4. By 6 o'clock, I'm home. I can do those kind of things because they're on Southwest lines. And if I catch a straight through a nonstop using Southwest, I can go to most of the affiliates in one day and then come back. It's so.
That's good.
But Georgia, I can do Georgia like that. I
Well,
think
that's
Georgia.
nice. You're so active with the affiliates. That's great to
Well,
know.
we're trying, and Tahira and Denise do a great job in keeping up with the affiliates, and we have our own group in member cliques, affiliate tell, so that we can just go through there and tell affiliate presidents what's happening. We have to figure out a way to, I'm looking for this date, figure out a way to include the people who aren't in affiliates, like all the people in Texas, like Oba and, what's the sister's name that tells the story so well? She's a librarian in Texas. So we just have to, they always are connecting with Vuzi and Natondo in Minnesota. But, and they're doing okay. I gave them a call when all of this stuff broke out. They say they're on the other side of town, and they're doing okay. But we have people who are not in affiliates. So we have to figure out a way to connect them with things that go out to the affiliates, because then they get left out.
Right.
So, okay.
What affiliate is in Oakland?
San Diego.
Oakland, Bay Area.
San Diego is the only story affiliate in California.
In California? Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
We were hoping that Stephen Hobbs is in Alabama. He's a law professor at the University of Alabama. Yeah, not Alabama State. Yeah, Alabama State. And we were hoping that he'd help get us started with a collegiate affiliate in Alabama. So he was one of the Caltel Switch scholars, was one of his law students.
Oh, nice.
So we're hoping.
Oh, nice.
New York has 3. New York has 3 affiliates.
Yeah, I used to be a member of the one with Joyce.
Dr. Joyce Duncan.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Joyce Duncan, yeah.
American Folk Heritage Circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got Rochester, and then we got the Tradition Keepers in Buffalo.
Amina Karima.
Yeah, Karima is Tradition Keeper. Karima, Denise, Chapman Acosta,
right.
Sandra Williams Bush. I'm trying to close my eyes and visualize the people that I see standing before me, but that's a strong affiliate in Buffalo.
Yeah. It's so nice to see everybody when we can see everybody, you know?
And hear the drums.
Yeah.
I look forward to hearing the drums.
I talked to Baba Jamal. He like, Oni, I don't even have a smartphone.
Hold on, Nzinga wants to say something.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask you something, Janice?
Sure.
Is somebody in the Rio Circle had passed recently?
Not that I know of.
Pardon?
Not that I know of.
Okay,
don't tell me.
I saw a picture with Bonjo, and they said, rest in peace. It was somebody. It was a brown skinned sister. I don't. And
was she an older sister, brown face?
Yes.
With glasses?
Yes.
Did you just see it?
No. I'm not sure if she had glasses or not right now, but she was dark brown skin. I'm not sure who it is, but I thought maybe it was somebody had. And she was beside Bonjo, and they had said, rest in peace. I thought it was something that I had met when I was down there. But this was, Oni had put it on.
Let me check, but I don't know. And if it's anybody that has been sick, it's Miss BB. She sings. She's a jazz singer, famous Baltimorean jazz singer, but she's been in and out of hospital. She's been real sick lately.
Okay. No, it was somebody like about a month and a half ago.
Okay, no. It might have been somebody else in the news media or whatever.
Anyway, we all just being blessed. I didn't want to bring up nothing negative, but
no, but you wanted to express your condolences, and this is how we keep in touch with what's happening. So
right.
It's not negative. It's called life.
Yes.
Who's she killing with her stick? What is she doing?
Lord, you gotta keep an eye on her because you don't know what she's gonna do.
She went and got her stick and started beating on her husband. All right, people. Peace, blessings, And
Leave me
so
alone. You was supposed to be going about what 15 minutes ago.
I know I'm getting tired, but I have to iron. I have to iron enough. I have a job coming first. One of the first, paying job, but it's for a summer camp that's going. That's virtual, but they got a grant to do this, and all of the people who are presenting different workshops. And I told at one of their graduations, it's an elementary school kind of.
Oh, nice.
So, but it's only me and the videographer in the room, and I have to film enough programs,
Right.
storytelling programs for the whole summer camp. So I've got 4 days of videotaping from 10 to 2, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Nice.
But I have to have I've got all these different outfits, so it looks like I'm dressed differently each day.
Listen, I'm doing the same thing, but I don't even have a videographer, okay?
No, the school is furnishing all of this. I go to the
Great.
school.
Yeah, I
And
wish
the only
I could
people
have.
there are me and the videographer, and we're social distance, so he's behind the camera, I'm in front. And so what I'm doing is just wearing a pair of like black pants and changing tops.
The tops, right,
Yeah,
right.
just changing dashikis and tops and things.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm doing it on my own. I don't have a videographer.
Oh no. This is the school is paying for everything. I just got to be there and tell stories. So I wrote a chart for myself, so to keep myself straight. So one day it's just Anansi stories, one day it's rabbit stories, another day it's monkey business. Those are all stories about monkeys. I have Turtle Day. I have tricksters. I have clever tales. Another day, one day I have quilt stories. And I do the quilt, and I hold up my quilt and talk about quilts. Another story is young heroes or young heroines, and I've got stories about Ruby Bridges and things like that. And then I've got stories. I have them in categories, so I can do each program, and I have written down what stories I want to tell for each thing. Why and how stories.
Right.
Why is the sky so far away, and how did the zebra get his stripes, and why mosquitoes buzz in people's ears. And so,
I remember that one.
So each day.
Well, the Shockey did.
Oh, okay.
Look at it.
But I have quilts all around my house, like this one in the back, hanging up. It's called "It Takes a Village."
I gotta get some quilts.
And then I have a huge one that Marianne Grayson out of Cleveland made for me that says Janice DeGrio. It's red, black, and green, and yellow.
Oh, she's awesome.
I really do.
She put me in her quilt, Queens of Storytelling, my name, and Queen Noor brought it for $500.
That's cool. I ain't never paid that much for a quilt in my life.
She brought that quilt, and I was like, it was at the auction at Nabs. I forget which one, but
no,
it's a nice quilt.
Once it got, I can't imagine me going past 100, and if I ever got to 100. That would be my closing point. That would be it. All righty.
She might have got it for $250. Now that I remember, because nobody went. I just remember it was $5, and I left because I said I ain't going there. And then I came back, and Karen got it for $250, something like that.
Nope. I ain't got it like that.
Well, that's wonderful because I'm doing everything myself. I had some library requests. So
I've got things that I got to do myself, but this was the bomb, and since they got this is and it's the pay is great because they got a grant to do this. They got somebody doing a science lesson and somebody doing other things with the kids, and some days. So mine is to do the stories.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful.
All righty, and I got to get this stuff together.
All right.
Yes. All right.
Take care. I love you all.
Love you too.
I love Coachy.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
That's why I'm trying out my new headset. This is new. Tonight's my first night trying out the headset.
It sounds good.
Yeah,
the sound is great. Okay.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. My husband turned the light out on me because he couldn't hear your voices and he didn't realize I was still in the room. So I'm hearing you through the headset. I said, "Why you turn the light out on me?" He said, "I didn't know you were in there." So okay. Take care.
Bye, Mama
Love
Jen.
Bye.
Oh man.
All right.
Irma, call me, please.
Who said that?
Mama Juara. Mama Jen.
I know she's not on here while she's driving.
Yes, she is.
Yes, I am. I'm not. I got hands free.
Okay.
Is anyone else? Is anyone else?
I just need to tell Irma I'll bring her stuff over in the morning. I can't do it tonight. I was trying to get home before dark.
All right, hold on.
I don't want you to come out tonight.
I wasn't able to get
She
her on
hears
the
you.
phone.
She hears you. She
Oh.
said she don't want you coming out tonight.
Right.
I know, that's why I'm not. I left the food. I left it at Sakia's house in the refrigerator.
All right.
Okay.
Very good.
And I'll bring it over tomorrow. But meanwhile, Irma, call me, please.
I will. I will.
Okay.
I have a question. Okay, Jen, take care. See you later.
All right. All right, y'all.
Love.
Tuta.
Love. Tuta anana.
Family mercies.
Paul,
Yes.
what's going on with the library?
I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
Oni.
Anybody else doing virtual stuff?
Yes.
Doing virtual?
Oni.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Khalif went through all those pictures. He did not see his picture. He was not on the website. I told him I would tell you.
He's sure.
Check it out later. Check it out later. Check it out later.
I'll check it out later because I thought it was him. I might have gotten him mixed up with Eric.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But I know I have pictures of him somewhere. I have to look in my CD picture file on Code.
Yeah.
And I'll put it up there if I find them. I'll look through it, the CDs I have on all those pictures.
Thank you.
All right. I might have think it was Eric. It was in the little dashiki.
Right.
I know I don't have any of those pictures.
Okay. Is he going to be around?
Okay, y'all.
Yes, he's out of school.
Okay, great. All right.
All righty.
All right. Who's coming to the stage next?
To the square.
The square. All the world's a stage.
This is a.
I got my hand up.
All right, Mom and Zinga, take it away, Mom. Hold on, Mama Irma, your phone's upside down.
Irma, you are upside
I know.
down.
I don't know how. I mean, everybody else is up right side up. I don't know how that happened. I put myself right side up. The rest of y'all are upside down. I don't know. This is a crazy phone tonight.
Whoa, this is crazy, yeah.
It's crazy.
Okay.
All right, Mom and Zinga, the square's yours.
Wait a minute. Got technical difficulty. What I've got this little propped up on. It's just like Babylon. It's falling. Okay. I don't know if can y'all see me good enough?
We just see a silhouette.
Okay.
We just in the dark.
Yeah, do you have any lights facing you?
Just a second. I'll get one.
It was a little bit better.
Wait a minute.
There we go.
Okay.
We in business, yes.
In business? Okay, good.
Yes.
Just 1 second, because I don't want the phone to go out. So I got to plug it in. You know how that is. Oh, this is a nice night. Think about, say, can you see? The bombs bursting in air. I've been listening to them all night. They still out there. Revolution in the background, revolution in the foreground. Well, I think I caught the tail end of a rebellion walking down the parkway. Say, can you see? White people acting just like me. deprived. Is that because of Corona? Very interesting. Walking beside me, rolling in a deferred dream, rolling in a comfort me, take me home, long, loud and strong, walking beside me, revolution, rebellion, revolution, rebellion. I'm not taking it no more. Rock me into a dream that was deferred. Rock me so I can stand tall and not fall with the rest of them. Oh, say, can you see? Never forget. The ones we lost, never forget. We gotta keep moving, never forget. This is a revolution. The head and the body gotta move in the same direction. What did we ask for? What did we ask for? Rock steady, baby. You know, we got ancestors still standing strong, and we got our feet on their necks. And they expect us to do something. They expect us to not fall to our knees. They expect us to demand rights. First-degree murder. And anybody that commits a crime against a Black person, or if you want to call them Afro, if you want to call them African American, whatever you want to call our people, we are human. We standing up, y'all, as the Rizzo statue falls. Oh, say, can we see? I just wrote a little ditty, y'all. That's it.
Like it. All right.
Yeah, y'all know I'll be freestyling Friday.
Yes. Oh, say, can you see?
Thank you.
I do not know where they get these fireworks from in North Philly, and they have been almost a week and a half straight. There have been fireworks.
Fireworks, they gunshots.
Not all of these. No, some of these are fireworks.
Oh, I wanted to say one
think
more
so,
thing.
huh?
I mean, you can see them in the sky when they light them.
Oh, fireworks. Okay.
Yeah.
They do.
Irma,
What do you
you are
call it?
upside down.
Dynamite in ATMs.
Yeah, I know.
Come
Dynamite.
on, stop being
Three
so
ATMs.
quiet. What you doing? Some yoga meditation over there?
I do want to say.
What are you doing? Yoga meditation?
No, I'm listening.
You listening?
Okay, I finish.
You saying, Mama Zinga?
I wanted to finish what I was saying.
Go ahead.
Tomorrow at noon, Brother Shamari is meeting at 52nd and Girard and doing workshops with children. And we are all invited out. It's at 12 noon. It's like what to do instead, and not in place of, but this is something else to do with the children. This is something else to do as a family, as a village. It should be very powerful. Also,
COVID was lifted. What are you saying? The whole, what are we going to be out there with children doing what? What's he doing?
You can wear a mask, wear your mask.
They turned the city to yellow status. They're in a yellow status of today.
So what does that mean?
But you wear your mask.
I'm not trusting it, but they're opening something.
That's nice.
Okay.
That's nice he's doing it. Are you going to go?
I'm planning on it, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, represent Coach C. Well.
But it was something else I was going to say, and I just kind of, but we have to keep standing up for what is right, and it has to have a brain. We must, anybody that we're talking to, a young person that's going out there doing the wrong thing, we got to talk to them, try to talk to them if we happen to run into them, and just educate them. I mean, that's our job as elders, to talk with them. And I talk to young people all the time when I'm going to the poppy store or whatever. and I say, "You still doing your homework?
You
I'm a
sure do.
teacher.
That's what I mean.
You still doing your work? Are you on the computer?" Well, school is out for them now, but
Your locks look lovely.
Yeah.
all right, then I'm gonna get off my soapbox. But
Oh,
lovely to
now.
see everybody.
I got kicked off.
What happened? All right, thank you.
Was Irma's son.
Oh, Earl, where's he at?
Was that Earl? Yeah, that was Earl.
Yeah, he stuck his head in for a minute because he heard Mama Nzinga's voice.
Oh, hey, Irma. Yeah.
Catriel and Nzinga, you know, Catriel is going to be on tonight. They're having a Sorrow Set Zoom party.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be all night. So, you know,
Oh.
drumming and singing and everything
Wow.
else. They had this one
Awesome.
time before. So I will email you the Zoom address if you want to.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, so.
So it's a SARS set at the Nile? They're having it from the Nile?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing it from the New York Asura set. That's how they organize it. But I can, you know, give out the ID. Mood had just called me a minute ago. I missed the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna be good.
Yeah, you know, this would have been a Doomsday Sunday.
Yeah.
I miss going to the Nile. I love their vegetarian food. And I like shopping there too.
There's some fireworks going off now.
Yeah.
Why? Is it what are we coming up? Is this the 4th of July? You live?
They've been doing this for over a week.
It all week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know there's some gun shops mixed in between there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you don't have it, download the app called Citizen.
Yeah, I got it now.
That app will tell you anything like a 911 call or anything on the police radar. It alerts you what's going on in your area.
Right.
They had some marches in Coatesville. They had very peaceful marches in Coatesville.
Yeah.
Good.
Very calm for peace.
Yes, that's the way it should be.
Well, they're right outside of my place. I can hear them.
Yes, you're close to Broad Avenue.
Yeah, well, they came by my place over the weekend. They marched probably about 4 or 5 times coming up Broad Street. But they were peaceful about it, so.
But I agree with you, Nzinga. When I see children, I do talk to them all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's true. We do need to encourage our youth, you know.
They're hurting.
Outside of our family bond. But it's kind of hard to speak sometimes when we have to wear these masks.
Yeah.
And I find, because I went to market and it was a Hispanic lady with her children. She had on a mask and they didn't. And I spoke to them and it was like, you know, people aren't friendly now. I'm trying to learn how to say hi with my eyebrows, see?
Oh, I think Oni's flirting with me. I saw her eyebrows.
That's hello.
You better clarify. Some people might take that the wrong way.
Because people aren't very friendly with these masks.
Some are.
Not in my neck of the woods.
Well.
And I'm talking about my own people, our own people.
Our own
They're
people,
just, they're not, you know, you can't see people smile.
Yeah.
They wasn't smiling.
Well, I am.
I know, but maybe they weren't.
Well, you know, you give a smile, you take a smile.
That's
and with the mask, it makes it difficult. Or you get a smile. You get one, you get one.
Right. All right. Does anybody else have a story?
No, I just would like to hear what you're going to plan for the meeting next Saturday. Maybe we could spread the word and get more people to show up.
I'm gonna send out an email, but I'm trying to. I'm thinking right now, between now and that meeting, what organizations could we specifically reach out to, um, in the sense of helping out in the area of using stories for healing. And so I really would like to partner with some of these social justice organizations, because a few of them, they work all the time, but they're kind of working overtime now when things like this happen. And I think it's a prime time for them to partner, considering that they're working the background so much that this is a good time for us to partner with an organization that's kind of doing the groundwork of this issue.
Right.
And so we need to think of, as a membership, what is it we want to offer in the spirit of storytelling. Yes, ma'am.
What about the project you were talking about with the school? The healing program with the school that
Yeah, they're still trying to flesh that out, because they're in the middle of it's some type of staff change they're doing. Something with the social work. And so I gotta wait back in here and see what they're doing, because they're in the middle of converting into being in trauma-informed school. So I gotta see.
Shouldn't we focus on targeting and working with the school? I mean,
I want to, but we can only do so much when they're ready for it. They're not ready. They're still kind of getting the groundwork together themselves.
Well, we got to be ready for it too. Even if it's not, we got to get ready for it too. So, I mean, at least it's an incentive and we have something to focus on, a goal, so we can work on a program together.
Right, but what I'm saying is, while we could be working on something, there's something that we could be doing immediately. Like I've been seeing on Instagram, where people are offering services just virtually. So you got people who are offering therapy virtually, meditation things virtually. If we can do this type of thing,
healing stories.
We can do healing stories. Like we're already doing this. So if we just want to say it's a certain date, we're going to do stories of healing, and we can just make a flyer and promote it as such. But I want to find an organization that we can partner with, so they can like promote it with us, and it could be a joint effort. So I'm gonna need help finding I'm really looking for some younger organizations that are social justice oriented, so we can get a kind of a intergenerational thing going on. But
Philadelphia Department of Aging.
You said a
Philadelphia Department of Aging.
Mm-hmm.
Children's social services.
Okay, we'll bring all of that to the meeting, because we're gonna brainstorm this meeting. Because
just write it down, because that's just write it down, and then what we need to focus on is what stories we have that are beneficial for healing and for peace.
Right.
Are we going to meet on Monday for Love Night? Monday.
Yeah.
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I haven't heard back from Bunjo. He hasn't returned my call or my text. So I don't know.
Bunjo Butler, he won't return it. He doesn't. He hasn't returned mine from 2 years ago.
Wow.
So is that a cell phone or a landline?
It's a landline. The message.
Because when I called the number, then I texted, and I was like, I don't even know if this is a cell phone I'm texting.
It's a landline, and he names all Junior and Cornbread and everybody that you could reach, but him.
So I'm gonna lean on him again.
Listen, okay, Love Night is okay. So we have another whole week. Oh man. So that's next Saturday. Okay, so we still have next Friday. Thanks everyone for the encouragement.
Yes. All right. So it's 9/10. The weekend is here. It's hot. We can officially say summer is here.
Can I get a song? Can I get a song from Adrian?
Uh-oh. You got
Can I
it.
get a song from? Can I get a song from Adrian? Can I get a
Right,
song?
good
from
idea. Come on now.
Okay.
We want to hear some of that
Um,
singing. You be doing.
Let me see what I can.
Sing it.
I've come to the garden alone. All the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God is calling, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. He speaks, and the sound of his voice, it's so sweet. The birds hush their singing, and the melody that he gave to me within my heart is ringing, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I could sleep tonight.
That's an old hymn, In the Garden.
I know. I hear that.
The first time I heard that, Al Green was singing it.
He's still singing it.
Yeah, see, my dad listens to all of those old quartets, and he listened to all those artists who sang the gospel albums. So as a kid, the only time I heard Sam Cooke and Al Green was when they were singing gospel. And I remember the first time I heard Al Green singing a secular song, it was what was it?
Let's Stay Together.
I think it was Let's Stay Together. And I looked at my dad, I was like, ooh, Al Green going to hell? He's singing gospel. He's singing secular music. My dad was like, boy, he was singing that before he did that. But then I learned how most of them, they started in the church.
Church, right.
They all started in the church. Your boyfriend started in the church. All of them.
I know that's right.
And so
hallelujah.
My dad just loved to play the gospel when they did the gospel albums, because that's how I learned about Aretha Franklin, Sam Cooke, and Al Green from listening to their gospel albums. And that's how I knew them. And it wasn't until I got older when, I would hear songs, I was like, oh, I thought these were church people. So
all rhythm and blues started in the church.
It started, yep.
Came out of spirituals, that moaning and that groaning.
That's right. Beautiful.
Okay.
All right. So there's nothing else. You all have a good night. Please get some rest.
You too.
See you Monday for Love Night.
Adrian, you was about to say something?
No, I was just saying you said have a good night, and
yeah. So everybody,
that was beautiful.
That was. I wanted to say something. That reminded me of, his name is Aldridge. He was one of the first people to sing gospel throughout the world. I've heard his voice.
Yes.
Yeah, Aldridge, but I can't remember. First name begins with an A too, but I can't remember. But that reminded me of him, Adrian. You reminded me of his beautiful voice who sang gospels. Paul Robeson was not the only one to go around the world and sing the gospels.
My voice is not in the best condition.
It sounded wonderful. It reminded me of Aldridge, and I've heard the recordings of him. Yeah, but thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, everyone have a great weekend. Love you guys.
Yes.
Love you all.
Good night, everybody. Mama Irma, you need to unmute.
Be safe.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Lovey.
Good night.
Y'all
Good
be
night,
well.
everybody.
Good night, sweetheart. Good night, everybody. Love, one love. Peace.